Okay, so today I wanted to talk about an important issue, and that's money. But wait, you say, Brad, you don't have any money. How can you talk about money? And well, I'm not here to talk about investment advice or anything like that. I just want to talk about what our money is. Today our money is what's called fiat money, which means that it has no intrinsic value whatsoever. If the U.S. government were to fall today, then all the money you had in the bank or stuffed under the bed or wherever you have it would be completely worthless, except for your nickels and pennies, which are actually worth slightly more than their face value. Nickels are worth about 7 cents, and pennies are worth just over a cent. Of course, to keep you from using the actual intrinsic value of these coins, they've forbidden you to take more than a few hundred nickels or pennies out of the country on penalty of 10 years in prison. Nice of them, huh? This wasn't always the case, though. Back when the United States was founded, and for more than a century after that, we had a good, solid money system based on gold and silver. And these currencies, of course, had real value, as gold and silver still do today. Ike, what are you doing? Huh? I know, you're a golden retriever, but we're not talking about you. Yeah, we're talking about gold, like the stuff we dig out of the ground. Why is gold a good money? Why is silver also a good money? Well, for one reason, they're easily malleable. You can form them into coins or talents or whatever you want. And they're easily to transport because there's a high density to value ratio. And the same is true with silver. Also, you wonder why stuff gets gold-plated and silver-plated. It's because it doesn't oxidize very easily. Silver will tarnish over time, but gold basically looks as good as gold for the entirety of a coin's life. You know, it gets dirty, of course, but it's not going to oxidize the way some other metals do. So naturally, throughout history, these precious metals have been used for coinage because they had real value that was easily transferable to someone else. But since the early part of this century, we have not had real currency. If you look at this graph here, you can see this is a graph of our currency's inflation rate over time. And you see how it averages out to about 0 until, well, just past 1900. And what happened there was that was the creation of the Federal Reserve when we instituted inflation into our currency. Now, why do we do this? Well, there's a number of reasons. And most of them help out people with lots of money and hurt people with a very little bit of money. First of all, the deflation that was experienced in the late part of the 19th century led to wage cuts in a lot of places. Of course, everything that laborers bought also was getting cheaper, but if you're seeing a wage cut and you're not correlating that with the price of groceries, then you know, you're going to think you're getting gypped by the company you're working for. In addition, today most people have mortgages on their homes. Back in the 19th century, this wasn't the case, because if you took out a mortgage and it was for a certain amount of money, it was going to be harder to make that much money in the future, which was one of the reasons mortgages got foreclosed at a much higher rate during that period. For instance, if you were a farmer, there was no way you were going to mortgage part of the farm, because you knew the corn crop that you sold 2 or 3 years from now wasn't going to net you nearly as much of a profit in terms of currency numbers as your corn did this year. Even though the things that you could buy at your local store, like plows and seeds and other supplies, were all becoming cheaper at the same time. So not surprisingly, the banks who have profited most from this were some of the authors of the original bill to create the Federal Reserve. In the United States, we've enjoyed a very long period of stable money, stable fiat money. But it doesn't necessarily have to go on forever. I mean, we could see the kind of hyperinflation that they saw in Yugoslavia in the 1990s, or they're seeing in Zimbabwe right now. All it takes is a little government instability, and all of our hard-earned savings can be wiped out. And that's why I think we should go back to a real money standard.